Hello there everybody, Sam'sTrains here, welcome back to the railway, and finally welcome back to another live stream. I just love doing these, so I've been counting down the days. First of all though, I guess I should thank all of you guys, because it's a fantastic day today for doing pretty much anything other than staying in and watching YouTube or whatever. So thank you all for doing that, I really do appreciate that. I'm sorry that, well, you might still be out and about I guess, but hopefully we're still going to be having a lot of fun in here, and hopefully I've got some interesting stuff to show you today, and hopefully we'll all have a good time. So here's to that, let's hope that happens today. Today though, I thought I would start off just by explaining how this series of live streams is going to work. Obviously the title and everything says that this is the third series, but obviously in the previous series that I've done an episode every week basically, every week for 5 weeks or 7 weeks I think it was once, but this time I'm going to change things up a little bit. This time I'm just going to go for, I think, hang on, let me just turn this fan off. I meant to turn this fan off before I got started, but I forgot. There we go, that should be a bit better on the sound. So this time I'm going to spread things out a little bit, and I'm going to make one episode once a month maybe, or twice a month or something like that, just to make it last a bit longer, and then none of us have to wait so long in between episodes. I thought that would be better, so let me know in the chat what you guys think about that, and I'm going to be checking in with you all in the chat in just a second to see how you're all going on. But yeah, hopefully this is going to be the first of quite an enjoyable series of different things going on in the live shows. So first of all then, let's kick things off. Super chats are enabled today, and if you don't know what super chats are, look down in the chat, there should be a little $sign for you, and basically all that allows you to do is it allows you to donate to the channel. Now obviously I would never ask anybody to do this, and just being here and just watching the streams and the videos and things is all the support you need to give, so please don't feel pressured into super chatting or anything like that. But obviously, if you do watch the channel a lot and you want to, you know, if you want to support it and you want to see it continue and that sort of thing, then please feel free to leave a super chat, and I'll be very grateful for you. It'll be very grateful to you. And there are a couple of perks to sending super chats as well. First of all, if you want to send a super chat of any amount, you will get a free shout out, but you will get a massive shout out on the channel. And if you want to send £5 or more, or dollars or whatever, £5 or whatever, you can choose your very own loco to run on the layout. You can choose any loco I've got in my collection. You can have your pick of any of my rolling stock, and I will do that live during a stream for you. So if you want to do that, that's fine. And also for this episode only, I'm going to be doing a mini giveaway. As you can see, this is what I'm giving away today. It's a photograph. I guess you can't see this too well, but this is a photo of the time Bullman and his brother Bison, both of them together, stole and consumed it in its entirety, this wagon full of Weetabix. Now obviously the Weetabix isn't too much of a big deal, there's plenty more where that came from, but the mess the following morning was pretty horrendous. Now I'm not going to go into too much detail about what happened, because obviously I don't want to be too graphic, but let's just say the layout was fertilised, let's put it that way. It was not pleasant to clean up, so I'm more than happy to be losing the memory of this event, so whoever is chosen at the end of today's episode will win this monumental photograph of Bullman and Bison and the time they stole the Weetabix. So if you want to send a super chat for any amount, I'll be drawing a winner for that today, and then you'll be the king of the world for owning that thing. Okay, so let's get on to this then. First of all, I promised a shout out to Freddie Stevens, who's 5 years old. His mum asked me to give him a shout out today, so I've done that. Hello Freddie, hope you're doing okay. And before I talk about the review and things I'm doing today, I thought it would be best if I check in with you guys, because obviously it's been a while now since I've done a live stream, so let's see what everybody's up to. So if you've got any questions or anything to say, anything on your mind, let me know in the chat right now. Jeff Demilton says yay, a giveaway, and I know Jeff's been in the comments, well, he's been in the chat for quite a while today, so hello Jeff, thought I'd give you a shout out there. Daniel Matthias says hi, I love HO trains. Me too, I love HO trains, although I don't have many HO trains. Most of mine are 00 gauge, which of course is the same as HO gauge, but the scale of 00 is very slightly larger. But yes, I love HO trains too. Hugo Sutherland says, could I get a shout out? Of course you can, Hugo, there you go. Anthony Marotta says hi, so hi to you, Anthony. Mr. Zorbus, that's a new one, don't think I remember seeing that one before, says hello, so hello. Alex Smithies says hi. Twan Ista says, hello Sam, how's your day going? It's going fine, thank you. It's pretty hot up here, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to go into this now, but I've got all new lighting in here, so everything's super bright, but it's also super hot. So hopefully I won't lose my mind today in the heat. No doubt it's going to get pretty hot up here as the stream goes on, so if I pass out on the floor or anything, do me a favour and call the authorities or whatever, but hopefully it'll be okay. Anthony says, when are you going to do the LNER 462 steam engine? Review it. There's quite a lot of LNER Pacifics. There's the A4s and A3s and A1s and things. I've reviewed most of those already, so if you want to check those out, please do. Callum Jones says, what's the best starter set? To be honest, if you're talking Hornby, I don't think there is a best starter set. They're all pretty good. They all do the different things well. The ones I can recommend are the ones that include a siding and a set of points. If they don't have a siding, I find that it's just a circuit of track and it gets a bit dull pretty quickly. But if you get one that has a set of points, you can't go wrong. So just go with what you fancy. Thank you very much to Model Train Fan who sent a super chat. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. Mr. Zorba says it's cold in Sweden. Well, it's normally cold here, but not today. It's been pretty hot today, and in fact, this past few weeks it's been pretty hot. Mark says, if Sam passes out, please call an ambulance. Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, I don't know if passing out warrants an ambulance or whatever, but who cares? Let's not nitpick. Okay, so I'll check in with everybody later on and see how everybody's doing. But let's get to the task at hand then and talk about what everybody wants to talk about at the moment. And that is this, the brand new Hatton's P-Class. Now, this might sound a bit confusing if you haven't been following the P-Class, because how can it be brand new? I reviewed my grey P-Class. Hang on, here it is. I reviewed this one back in December, and I think they were released a couple of months later in February. So they're not new models, but the thing is, all of the liveries, and there are loads of liveries by the way, I don't know how many, I think 12 or something like that, or that might have been the Barclays. All of the liveries came out a couple of months ago, except for the SECR green. Those were delayed. I don't really know the reason why, but for whatever reason, those were delayed. And only last week, about 3-4 days ago now, these were in stock at Hatton's, ready to be bought. So I was very excited when I found that, and I thought I'm going to schedule a stream and start off this new series by unboxing the green version. So that's the green version. If you're at all interested in the P-Class, there's a link in the description. It's the first thing you'll see. If you want to browse the different liveries or maybe even order one, then click that link and take a look, and I promise you they are fantastic. And obviously I know that because I've been running my grey version. But anyway, we're not going to fuss too much about the grey version today. It's all about the green, and I've only had this out of the box briefly to photograph it. I have run it in. It's been running along on its own, so it's all ready to run. I think we'll get started then. I'm just going to check if there's anything else I need to do. I don't think there is, so let's get to it. Let's get this beauty out of the box. I saw enough of it to realise that it is absolutely gorgeous, so hopefully everyone's going to love seeing this today, and I'm getting excited already. So let's get to it. I'm going to go down onto the carpet as I always do. I'm not wearing the slippers today for obvious reasons, because I think my feet would dry out and drop off, and I don't want that. So anyway, whoops, that's not a good start. Almost dropped the box. Let's get started then, and I'll open up the P-Class. So as you can tell, this has got the Hatton's packaging, which I've seen a few times now with my other P-Class and the Barclay, of course. And I'm not going to show you any, well, I can't show you any close-ups really, but if I show you the end of the box there, that's what it looks like. You can see a little diagram of the loco, and this one is H4-P-002. I think there are two SECR versions. The other one has a slightly shorter cab, I'm going to say, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. Let's get this out. So lift up the top of the lid, which is very sturdy by the way. All of the packaging from Hatton's has always been super sturdy, and on the top here you get a nicely colour printed manual. I've got to call it a manual for want of a better term. There you go, P-Class 060T from Hatton's, and on the back there, I have shown this before in a review by the way, so if you want a better view of any of this stuff, go and check out the review. I didn't think actually to put a link to the review in the description, but if you're watching this after I broadcast this, then I will do that. So anyway, you should be able to find it. But anyway, it's nice. It's nicely colour printed, as you can see. There's stuff about fitting digital sound, detail parts, and don't you think it's incredible that digital sound can fit inside a model this size? I do. I think that's pretty amazing. Okay, let's get this out then. I can't put it off any longer. So it's all nicely padded, as you can see, with the foam. And inside here is the block of ice with the loco inside, and I think that's all. Yeah, nothing inside the box other than the loco. So let's get this out, and it is quite mysteriously obscured by the sort of plasticky stuff in there. So let's get this out and I will show you the detail pack. or rather I'll talk about the detail pack because I doubt we'll get a decent close-up of it with these webcams. But the detail pack's quite interesting on this one because, as you may or may not be able to see, you just have to take my word for this, there are even a separate set of buffers. Now I believe these are slightly shorter buffers, there are a few different variants. They are sprung buffers, I've just checked, but that is real attention to detail. I don't think I've ever had a loco that has come with a separate set of buffers. Now I think that's possibly because in real life they had different buffer variations. I'm not too sure on the history behind it, but regardless, I think it's just a pretty good deal, don't you, to get some extra sprung buffers, and some people might even be able to make use of those on different models. But yeah, there's different painted things. I can see sort of root discs and that sort of thing. There's vacuum pipes, there's 3-link couplings, it looks like. It's a really hefty detail pack, to be honest with you. Pretty good, that is. And finally then, let's get the loco out, and you're going to be blown away by this. I was blown away by it, and I'd already seen the grey version, and yet this was still a massive thing to see this for the first time. So here she is, and let me tell you, the paintwork makes all the difference. It really, really does. I'm sorry that I can't show you a proper close-up. I have got a way to show you a decent close-up of this, so don't worry, I know you're screaming at your monitors, but just look at that. I mean, the size of this thing, you can get a good appreciation for the size of it if I just hold it in my hand there. The size of it, yet the amount of detail on it is just incredible. And I know I've done a lot of gushing about this model already because I have reviewed one of them already, but it just doesn't get old. Yeah, it really, really is superb. So what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to get out of the way and I'll give you a little bit of history on the P-Class. I know some of you know the history already. Obviously, if you've seen my own review, you might have seen it already, but obviously that was a little while ago. So I'm going to give you a little bit more history now just because they're quite interesting things. So here we go with a little history of the P-Class. So the P-Class was a relatively early class of 060 tank engine designed by Harry Wainwright for the SECR in 1909. Now, just looking at the P-Class, they obviously somewhat resemble the LBSC Terriers, and their design was actually heavily inspired by the Terriers, although of course the P-Class never really proved to be quite as successful as the Terriers, and they never even came close to the expected tractive effort. So because of this, the class was eventually just used for shunting and other similar lighter duties, despite really being originally intended for passenger work as the Terriers were. Only 8 of the class were produced in total over 2 years, 1909 to 1910, and very luckily 4 examples still exist in preservation today, which of course is a fantastically high proportion of the original class. Okay, so there she is then. Obviously this is a pretty terrible shot. Obviously these webcams aren't great for close-ups and things, so what I've done is in order to show you the detail and things, I've actually taken some photos, and I mentioned those photos earlier on, so I'm just going to bring those up for you so that you can get a bit of a closer look. So there she is, and wow, isn't this incredible? So I apologise that I can't show you proper close-ups. I'm just going to interrupt this to say a massive thank you to the Imperial Diamond Spinosaurus and TrainFan28, who have both sent very generous, I'm going to say Snapchats, I shouldn't say Snapchats, Super Chats, there we go. Thank you guys, I appreciate that, that's very, very kind of you. Anyway, so back to the loco then. As you can see, I mean, it's just the livery, isn't it? The grey was superb, and the grey blew me away, but the livery on this is just absolutely incredible. And look at the wheels, even the wheels have the SECR livery on them, which must be really quite a difficult thing to achieve in terms of manufacturing, because it really is quite intricate, isn't it? And again, bear in mind the size of those wheels, and yet the lining on them is pretty much spot on. So on the subject of the lining, let me show you the top of the model. As you can see, the lining on the boiler is spot on. I mean, you can't fault that. I'm no expert on these things, but for the size of the model, I mean, it just doesn't get better than that. As you can see, the dome on there is not made of metal as far as I'm aware. You do have that sort of matte finish to it, which is a bit of a shame because in real life, obviously, they were sort of shined up metallic, glossy, that sort of thing. That's not the case on the model, but to be honest with you, that is the only criticism I can think of when it comes to this, so you can't really fault it too much there. The Boundless has just sent a super chat saying, can you review the HO scale Lionel Polar Express? Yes, I get a lot of comments about that actually. Yes, sure, I will take a look at that at some point. So yeah, and as you can see, you've got the separately fitted whistle on the top of the cab, beautifully detailed safety valves, and if you just look behind the dome there, you can see some different coloured pipes and things, which are done in in a sort of copper colour. The size of those pipes is just unbelievably tiny. These photos don't do it justice, but they really are so fine. And yet they're out of the way, so you're not going to touch those with your fingers, which I was quite impressed with, because if they were in a more vulnerable spot, you might find that you're catching those when you're lifting the model. But very, very luckily, the positioning of those pipes means that you're not likely to catch it. Okay, let me show you the front of the model then. As you can see, you've got a separately fitted smoke box dart there, which is just lovely to see. The top of the chimney, I believe, is separately fitted. It's certainly separately painted. It's not all that clear whether it's actually made of metal, but I'm going to go ahead and say it probably is, although it doesn't matter too much, does it? Because if the effect is right, then I guess it's neither here nor there, but it looks good. And then, as you can see, the buffer beam is beautifully detailed, and it's also outlined with that sort of yellow lining, which looks lovely. You've also got the running number represented there on the buffer beam, and around the front, you do have sprung buffers, as you can see there, and as I said also, even if you decide to fit the ones in the detail pack, you still get sprung buffers, which is fantastic. Now obviously I don't really have the facility to show you a close-up of the cab detail during the live stream because, well, I forgot to take a picture of it basically, but if you really want to see the cab detail, and it is exquisite, don't get me wrong, it really is impressive. If you'd like to see that, check out my main review, just search up Hatton's P-Class and look for my review, and there's a fairly decent shot of the cab there. So, but take my word for it, it really, really is good. Anyway, looking around the back here, you can see we've got the grille effect on the back windows there. And thank you, Justin Poor. He says he sent me a super chat and he said such a beautiful locomotive. And Charles Curtis says happy to support the channel with a super chat. Thank you very much, Charles. That's very, very generous of you. I do appreciate it, folks. And of course, everybody who has sent me a super chat so far is now entered to win the monumental photograph of Bullman and Bison together there. Anyway, back to the loco. I'm sorry to keep diverging off. Yeah, as you can see, you've got the grilled windows. The coal on the back is pretty good and fine. I really like the coal. And as you can see, more of that just delicious. I know it's a bit melodramatic to say delicious, but it really just is fantastic. And just look at all the pipe work around the wheel set and everything. For such a tiny, minuscule model, it really is something else. So yeah, I mean, whichever livery you went for, if you've got one, let me know what yours is like. Obviously, I've got first-hand experience of the SECR green and the SECR grey, but there was a whole lot of others. And again, if you're interested in some of the other liveries, check out the link in the description. There are all sorts to choose from, and each of them looks just as good as the last. I mean, they really do. So yeah, it's fantastic. It's kind of leaving me lost for words a little bit, which does sometimes happen with these Hatton models. It certainly happened with the Barclay, and it even happened with the much more simplistic grey version, but you know, you just can't help yourself, can you? Okay, so that's it then. I think we'll leave it there for the close-up. I think you get the picture anyway, and if you want to see some more of the separately fitted stuff, it is pretty similar to that on the grey version, so feel free to check out that review. So there you have it, really quite incredible. There she is, again, just for size comparison. And if you want to see her next to the grey version, there she is. Obviously, clearly the same model, but doesn't it just transform them, being in that different livery? Absolutely incredible. And of course, there are differences that you can see. I think the cab is slightly different, as you can tell. The cab windows are different. The grey version doesn't have the grille effect. So, you know, real attention to detail there. So I think what we'll do then, let's have a little bit of a chat then, shall we? I'll talk about, well, let me know, in fact, let me know what do you think about it. Have you got any observations, any opinions on these models? And if you're going to order one, or if you have ordered one and got one, let me know which one you went for and what it's like compared with the ones I've got. What else are we going to do? I will check the super chats as well, and I'll go through and thank everyone. William Thomas says, can I please get a shout out, as you said you would when I messaged you about my 08? Yes, of course, there you go. Glad I managed to spot you. Gallium Gamer says, trains, with loads of exclamation marks. Thank you. Davon, is it Davon? Davon Coleman says, show the big boy, please. Unfortunately, I don't have a big boy. The trouble is they're very expensive, right? And some of my curves are second radius, and if I'm going to spend that kind of money on a loco, I really want to get one that I know will run properly on my line. So I've been put off by that, but if people can assure me that it will run fine on my layout, then I might be persuaded to give it a try one day. I certainly get a lot of requests for it. I just saw someone asking for a shout out, but it's disappeared. I think it was Tommy something. I've missed it now. I'm sorry about that. But Genta Mohammed says so tiny, and that's true, man. I mean, look at the size of this thing. I'll go and get a Ginty later on and show you that for size comparison, because you really don't get a sense. But yeah, I mean, they are something else altogether. I can highly recommend them, and we're going to get onto performance, of course, in just a moment. But you probably know already how nicely they run. Scottish Train Spotter says that's a really good model train you got, Sam, today. Yes, it is. I've been looking forward to it ever since I pre-ordered it. In fact, I pre-ordered the green version before I got the grey version back in December, so it's been a long wait, but it was worth it. That's the key thing. Definitely not a disappointment. There we go, Tommy BF, that was it. Can I have a shout out? There you go, Tommy. I thought I'd saw you, but you disappeared. Alex Smithies says shout out. There you go. Mr. Dino saying hello. James Peters says hi Sam, love your vids. Shout out please. There you go. Rowan Dobbelstein says hello. Awesome second name. Is that your real name? Thomas Train 9025 says, can I have a shout out please? Yes you can. James Thurston says, can I please have a shout out? And Tommy BF is saying it's Tommy BF, as in best friend? I don't know. Twan Ista, I'm sorry if I've said that name wrong, I'm not trying to be offensive. He says, can you review a Hornby Peckett sometime soon? Well, I think I included, you know, when I did that announcement video for the new Hornby and Hattons and things announcements, I put up a poll, I think, to ask whether people wanted me to review one of the Pecketts, and loads of people voted yes, so I've actually pre-ordered one of them, and I'm really looking forward to that. I think the one I've pre-ordered should be along in the summer, so hopefully all being well, if Hornby get their act together and get those released, I will be reviewing one of those in the summer, so yes, I will do a Peckett. And they're sort of similar sized, I think, aren't they, to the Barclays? So yeah, they'll be nice to run together, I would have thought. Pascans Railway says, is it 00 gauge? Yes, it's 00 gauge. It looks like it might be N or something, but no, it is 00. Even if it was HO, it would be quite a bit smaller, I suppose. But yes, they are 00 gauge. Mark's asking for a shout out. MDH Games, there you go, there's your shout out. When did you take your YouTube seriously, says JCXD Animation. Well, to be honest, I tried to take it seriously, but equally I try not to take it too seriously. I don't want to be, you know, completely serious all the time. To be honest, I've always wanted to do YouTube ever since sort of 2008. I was a massive fan of YouTube, and ever since then really I've been working hard to try and get stuff seen, and it's taken, well, it took until about 2013, so a good number of years before I did that. But it was trains that got me there. So yeah, and, you know, I wouldn't wish to be doing anything else, to be honest with you. I love it. Isabella Rossi says shout out, say LMB. I don't know what LMB means. Hopefully I haven't said something rude. Benjamin Baker says, can you please run the new 14XX? Do you mean the one that's been announced, or the one that came out just before Christmas? But sure, if you want to send a super chat for it, if you want to send a request, I will definitely do that. And speaking of super chats, I'm going to just take a look and see if anyone has sent any requests, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up a running session with this, and if anyone's made any requests, I will run those alongside her. So if you haven't made a request yet and you'd like to, just send me a super chat for £5 or more. I'll be massively appreciative for the contribution to the channel, and you will be helping to keep the channel going. And equally, you'll get to see your own request run. So let me have a look through the super chats, and I'm going to just thank everybody just in case somebody snuck through while I was doing the unboxing. So Model Train Fan, thank you very much. Gothic Locomotive, Andrew Keeley says LNER P2 versus the SP Daylight. Oh, that's a good one, Andrew. We'll have to try that in a video, I think, sometime. But good idea. I'll make a note of that. Toads on Ice says hello, Toads on Ice. How are you doing? The Imperial Diamond Spinosaurus sent one. Thank you. Train Fan 28 sent one as well, but you didn't leave a request. If you want to get in touch, if you have a request, that's fine, let me know. If you don't have one, that's also fine. The Boundless says, can you review the HO Lionel Polo Express? That's fine. Justin Poor and Charles Curtis, that was all. So thank you all very, very much for your support. I think what I'll do, Andrew, is I'll get the P2 running for you now, just so that I've fulfilled your request. And then if I get time to do the P2 versus the Daylight, then I'll do that in a video one day. But okay, I think what I'll do is I'll take a little break. I will set this loco up and alongside the P2, and I reckon I'll get the grey version running as well, because that would be nice, and we'll see how they perform. So I'll be back in 5 minutes. Please don't go anywhere. Go and get yourself I guess a drink of water on a hot day like this, and I'll see you all in just a few minutes. So I'll be right back. Yeah, don't go anywhere. I always fail to find the back soon button. Okay, here it is. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay folks, I'm back and I've got some stuff set up down on the track. I haven't been able to see how this camera is pointing, so I'll just go and adjust that right now. But yeah, as you can see, everything is ready to go in just a second. I haven't connected up the SECR Green P-Class to her little goods train yet, because I thought we'd let her do some sort of slow running on her own and see how she does at slow speeds. But we'll get onto that in just a second. I wanted, first of all, just to say welcome back. Thank you to everyone who sent super chats so far. That's very, very kind of you. Of course, everyone who has sent a super chat of any amount today is going to be entered with a chance to win this framed photograph of the time Bullman and Bison stole Weetabix. It was definitely an interesting day, I can tell you that. And of course, if you want to send £5 or more, you can choose your very own request to run. So let me have a loco and some rolling stock in the super chat comment, and I will definitely do that for you. Let's see what else I want to do. Okay, I think we'll start the running session then, shall we? Let's go down to the front then and take a look. Everyone's saying hello, by the way. Toads on Ice, Tommy BF, everybody, David Ballin, Lynn Peterson, Maria Dixon, Adam Rushton, Mangle wants a shout out. There you go, Mangle, glad I saw that. Okay, let's try this then on slow speed now. Just as with everything else today, really, I have shown how well the P-Class performs down on the track, but just in case you haven't seen those already, and just because it's fun really, I thought we would. So I've been a bit evil. I've parked her just behind the express point there, so I'm not too sure whether she'll cut out or not. I don't think the grey version did, but to be honest, it is a massive, massive dead zone on there for such a tiny loco. So even if she does, it's not a big deal. So anyway, let's give her a little bit of juice then, and no doubt from all the way over there, you won't be able to tell that she is moving. But there we go, she is actually creeping forward. I don't know, let me know, can you actually tell in the chat? Can you tell that she's moving at that? I mean, I have to look pretty carefully to tell that she is moving there, but yes, she is creeping forwards. Okay, a little bit faster then, I won't be so evil as to make her run slowly over the express point. Ah, she has cut out a little bit. Go on, girl. Oh, actually, at a slightly higher speed, she got over it no problem. Okay, let's try it in reverse. Oh yes. No problem. So at a moderate speed, she'll even get over express points, if you want to call that a moderate speed. Of course, that was still pretty slow. Okay, so what I've done is I've given her a little bit of a goods train. Obviously, initially they were designed for express passenger work. Well, not express, I don't know if it was express, passenger work at least. But as it turned out, they weren't great for that sort of thing, so they ended up doing shunting and other stuff too. So she's got a bit of a goods train there. Hopefully that will look nice with her. Let me get her sped up, and she's a beauty. Just to look at that. She is fantastic. Okay, let's not carried away. So thank you to Andrew Keeley for his idea of, I think, putting the P2 up against the Daylight. I'm just running the P2 for now, but certainly I'll try and do the Versus idea in a video at some point. So there she goes, with just a small rake. Well, it is small for the likes of the P2, of course, of Eleni Artiques. And then, as promised, on the inside line, I have the SECR Grey. I don't know what Grey is. Grey, of course, number 754, pulling the Southern coaches again. I quite like the look of her with Southern coaches. I know it's not all that prototypical, but yes, I quite like the look of that. So let's have a bit of a running session then. Let's see how these all get on. Let's catch up with the P-Class. Oh, there she goes, just disappearing there underneath us. Let's head over. Oh, no, there's the P2. We'll stay here, shall we, while the P2 goes by. And here we go then. The P-Class is about to come by the church cam. Oh, there we go. Look at her. Yeah, she's fantastic, and obviously not a massive train on the back of her today, but they are really, really good pullers. I've been reluctant to do a pulling power test on these because I don't want to ruin the wheels, obviously, by making them haul more than they should. But you can take it from me, they are pretty good pullers. They're very heavy, obviously. They've got that die-cast metal running board, and there's quite a lot of metal work in general, really, on the models. So they are impressive in that sense. And I've just got the grey version going by here. There she is, and she is lovely too. I don't really know which one I prefer, actually. I think it's going to be the green, but obviously they're both fantastic. And the grey's unusual, so I particularly like the grey for that reason. So there we go, there's the SECR green version. We'll follow her around a little bit right now, because I guess she's the subject of this whole business. Look at that. And if I had some proper SECR coaches, I would definitely run her with those. If they ever come down in price, hello, I will definitely try and get some. The birdcage ones. I don't know whether the bird cages would be too big for them. Maybe not, I don't know. I'm no expert. But either way, I think it would be nice to get some of those. So let's have a few more shots of the other engines then. Let's take a look at the P2. Oh, and there's the grey P-Class as well, just running by. So it's all the P's, isn't it? We've got the P-Classes and the P2. It's funny how that works out. There we go. P2, of course, this is the railroad version, not the Railways version with TTS sound, but they're all pretty good, as you know. And here it comes now, just around the front. Come on, P2, show yourself. There she goes. Yeah, pretty good models, but obviously they're absolutely 10 times larger than the little P-Class. I'll probably try, well, you would have seen them a minute ago side by side. I mean, the size difference is just absolutely crazy. Okay, shall I give you some of my ratings for these? Now, here we go then. Obviously, the ratings are pretty much, in fact, I think I got them exactly the same, haven't I, from when I did the grey version. Detail, it can't be any other than 5 out of 5. I mean, the amount of detail squashed into such a tiny space. I'm sounding like a broken record because I think I've said this before, but the amount of detail on this thing is absolutely fantastic. So, 5 out of 5 there. Power, 4 out of 5. They pull quite a bit more than you'd expect them to do, being locos of that size. So, I've given her 4 out of 5 there. Equally, slow speed, you saw how slow that was, and yet she doesn't really cut out unless you put her across some nasty express points, of course. So slow speed, can't fault it. And equally, the quality. Not only is this a massively detailed model, but the detail on them isn't particularly fragile. You can handle, obviously you're not going to want to throw them around, but you can handle them quite happily, and they're not going to be so fragile as bits are going to drop off and that sort of thing. So that is a massive thumbs up. Value then for £99. It does sound like quite a lot of money for such a tiny loco. In fact, the P2 is less expensive than them. Sorry. However, what you get here is massive amounts of detail and a quality that is not seen anywhere else in the hobby, as far as I'm concerned. And it was the same with the Barclay 040. The quality of these is literally second to none. So yes, they're expensive, but this is value for money. It's not just price. And value for money, as far as I'm concerned, is top notch. So that is 4 out of 5. Overall then, that is 9.26 out of 10. And of course, that ranks her joint first with the grey version. Same score, of course, so it's just down to me really, the order that they go in. But because I personally prefer the green, I've put her at the top there. But really, they are both superb models. So there you have it. Just wondering where she's got to so I can get her in the shot. Oh, I think she's, yeah, there she is. Here she comes. Just look at that. She is deserving of top of the list, I think. And really, if you haven't seen one of these in person, it is worth the, £99 just to pick one up. I know it's frivolous, but you're not going to get a better model for £100. I actually do believe that. I'm not just saying that. So there we have it, the beautiful, beautiful P-Class. Let's bring these down to the front then, and what I'll do is I'll stop the P2 next to her, next to the P-Class of course, and just in case you were wondering, I will show you a size comparison. Come on P-Class, where are you? There she is. Okay, let's head over to the front then, because I noticed the P-Class as, no, not the P-Class, the P2. See, I'm getting mixed up. It's the heat. It's not my fault. There we go. I can blame the hot weather, can't I now? Let's reverse the P2 back into the shot, because we don't want to have to wait for it to come all the way around. So there she is, the mighty Hornby P2. There we go, into the shot. And there is the P-Class. Absolutely tiny. But in my opinion, a better model. They really are good quality. So there you have it. Look at that. I think even the tender of the P2 is larger than the P-Class. Let's just confirm that. Yeah, I think it's even longer than them too. I mean, look at that. They are incredibly cute, aren't they? Really, really lovely things. So there we go. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I can't fault them, as you can tell. They really are incredibly good models. All right, let's have a little bit of a chat then. I'm going to sit down and have a bit of a breather, I think. Hopefully, I won't pass out, Mark. No, it's not that hot up here. As long as you sort of don't move about too much, it's all right. It's not as though I'm running a marathon or anything. Although saying that, I do get lost for words quite a bit. So let's see how people are doing. Pat and a Sparkle says, shout out please, please, please. So there you go. Ahmed Amrai says, are you running on DCC? No, these were just running on DC, which I suppose makes it all the more impressive. But obviously they do have 6-pin DCC sockets. So if you really want to run them on DCC, it's no problem. And in fact, Hatton's sell compatible decoders in there. I think you can even use the Hatton's decoders, the 6-pin ones. So that's not a problem, and they do run well on DCC as far as I know. Sam, why don't you tell everyone about the time you burned down someone's house on Minecraft, says Mark. Head over to MDH, where is he? MDH Games channel. Yes, we griefed on Minecraft and burnt someone's place down, but we believe they deserved it. There we go. Michael Forster sent me $5. Thank you very much, Michael. Let me know, well, send me a message or whatever if you've got a request to run, and I will do that as soon as possible. Mark Corner again says, thanks for donating, Michael. Yes, thank you, Michael. I do appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Rowan Dobblestein says, shout out, please. Did I not shout you out already? I thought so. It doesn't matter. You can have as many as you like. Michael Forster says, can you run the daylight? Yes, almost certainly I'll run the daylight again at some point. She is beautiful. Steam Fanatic says, can I please have a shout out, please? That's a lot of pleasers. Yes, of course. Can you review the Wartime Black A1/A3? So it says Shadow Ball X. Yeah, I'd like to do that actually. I don't think I have. No, I don't have a Wartime Black Pacific of any kind, I don't think, so that would be a nice one to get hold of. I'll definitely keep a lookout. Stephanie Selt says, cool, my son has DC. Yeah, I run mostly on DC. I do have a DCC controller, and I use it from time to time, obviously for the TTS sound models mainly, but I prefer to run on DC because it's just a bit more convenient. It's faster as far as I'm concerned. Can I see Bullman, please, says Paskin. Yes, we've got to have Bullman, haven't we? I should have stuck him on one of the trains, actually, but I forgot. Go on, Bullman, where are you? Trouble is, he doesn't normally come out on request. He normally has to decide himself when he's coming out. But no, I've got him. I infiltrated his lair and pulled him out. Here he is. Say hello, Bullman. Of course, you've seen his photo already, and I'm going to do a little prize draw for that photo later on. So you've still got time. You've still got time to enter to win that. Just send a super chat of any amount, and I'll be drawing him pretty soon. Let's see what else I've got to do then. Let's do some Wall of Fame stuff. I do have lots of photos that people sent in for the Wall of Fame. And if you want me to show one of your photos, just draw something or take a photo, whatever, and send it to me at samstrains@outlook.com, and I will show it to you during the next stream. Ollie Turf sent a super chat saying, keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Ollie. I do appreciate that. You're very kind. Right, let's get to this then. Quite a lot to go through today, so let's get to it. So George D sent me this. Now, are these Trackmaster? I'm not too familiar with that, but it looks like a collection of wagons of some sort. So I really like those. They've got some interesting loads inside them as well. I think some of those might be sweets. I'm not too sure, can't tell. But maybe it's another food train, like the one I made with the D16. And then George C sent me this one. I think this is some sort of live steam model, but it's certainly a large gauge one. Really like that. Looks a bit like, well, it looks a little bit like the J94 with the tank, but I don't think it is. Yeah, it's an 040, so probably not a J94. And then Fine Slime sent this one. It says, let's go Edward, and this is one he's drawn, so extra points there for drawing that. It's very good. It's a good likeness of Edward. Maybe Hornby should take notes from that drawing. And then Michael F, oh, this one's an interesting one. He's got me in the video with his P2. You can just about make out the P2 there, sitting on his laptop keyboard. So that's pretty cool. Thank you for sending that, Michael. I don't know how I feel about having my own face on the Wall of Fame. I wasn't expecting that. Then David sent this. I think this has got to be a daylight, hasn't it? You can just about see it there, and he's even got all the right coaches for it, which is all the more impressive. I don't even have those, so that's very cool. Thank you, David. And then Connor sent this. It's difficult to tell what loco it is. It doesn't look like a British one. I thought it looked a bit like something from the Southern Railway, maybe the M7 or something like that, but I don't think it is. It definitely looks foreign, but I like foreign locos. I think, well, the livery on it for a start is gorgeous. Look at that. It's quite similar to the Southern green though, isn't it? Not a million miles off. Then Charlton has sent me a picture of Adler. I don't exactly know where Adler is. Is she at the Science Museum in London or not? I don't know. She might not even be in the UK as far as I know. She might be in Germany or something. But that's Adler, one of the early steam locomotives. Really like Adler, actually. I wouldn't mind a model of her if someone did that. And you won't believe this. Look at this one that Jordan sent in. He's actually got one of the P-classes. So what a perfect stream to show that in. He's got Bluebell, and this is the toss-up one, by the way. I was always going to get the grey version, but I was struggling to decide whether to get the Bluebell one or the SECR green. But in the end I went with the green, but I was very much tempted to get Bluebell, and look at the livery on that. Let's see if I can get close. Oh, it goes out of focus. Oh, it's fantastic. You've got to check those out. As I say, link in the description if you want to look at the Bluebell version. It is something special, believe me. Then Imogen, this is a picture of Imogen on board a real steam locomotive. I think her dad sent me this. She looks a little bit scared about the whole business, but she's obviously being pretty brave standing on the footplate there. So that must have been a real experience. So thank you, Imogen, for sending that. And I think I've got one from your brother in here as well, if it is your brother. And then Jordan sent me this. It looks like some sort of snowy layout or something. It's a good job mine's not a snowy layout. I think it would have melted on a day like this. But that was from Jordan, so thank you, Jordan. That looks pretty cool. Then Stuart sent me a picture of quite a modern looking loco. There you go. As you can see, it's a nighttime shot, so good points for nighttime shots. I quite like that. Can't quite tell which one it is. It's going to Aberdeen though, according to the front of it. Now this one's interesting. Schmatzel L, I'm sorry if I've said that wrong. It looks like Gordon is doing some chemistry. You can see there's all sorts of, let's see here. I can see some benzene rings on there. But Gordon's not very pleased about it all. He says, what the hell is that? There we go. So Gordon doesn't like chemistry, and neither did I, so maybe Gordon and I should be friends. And then Thomas sent me this. Again, this is something I don't recognise, but it's got this sort of Art Deco livery on it, which I think is pretty cool. Looks a little bit like the Coronation class in diesel form, maybe. But no, I like that. That's pretty cool. Here we go. Yeah, this is Ollie, so I assume this is Imogen's brother or something. Also on the footplate of a loco. Looks very cool. I mean, you're going to look cool, aren't you, on the footplate of a loco? But yeah, thank you, Ollie, for sending that in. Then OG905 sent this very cool photo. Oh, sorry about that. I'm not showing you, am I? So you've got 3 fantastic locos. Looks like 2 A4s and an A3 in the middle there. So fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Then Mark sent me this. Now, this is quite interesting because apparently Bullman, do you remember Bullman that, no, it wasn't Bullman, Bilius, that got given away? Well, he's ended up at some sort of heritage railway place in a cabinet, and you can actually go and see him there. And Mark's kids obviously went and saw him. You can just about see Bullman, Bilius there. I forget what the name of the place was now, but he is on public display, which I thought was pretty cool. Then Kyle S sent this. It says, Bullman was born. I think this must be the story of Bullman. So if you want to pause it, you might be able to read it. But I'll put it up on the wall anyway. So thank you, Kyle. I think that is the story of Bullman's birth, although I can't quite tell. But yeah, I can see him on the track there, as usual. So thank you for that. And then lastly, this is one from Rowan. Again, it doesn't look like a British loco, does it? But it certainly is an attractive one. So I'd love to know more about that. If anyone recognises it, let me know. It is a lovely loco. So that is fantastic. Okay, so let's do. Okay, right. Let's. Shall we get on with this prize draw then? So thank you to everyone who has entered. I'm going to go through and pick a winner now for the photograph. Let me just get this up. Let me bring up a refreshed list of the super chats. And what I will do is I'll show you the list of them. Let's do this. Let's go onto the screen capture. There we go. So here's the list. I'm going to load them all up so that we don't miss anyone out. And I'm just going to scroll up and down and shut my eyes. And I'm just going to stop and point at one of them. Okay. Okay. We have Justin Poor. He says, such a beautiful locomotive. So thank you very much, Justin. Just send me a message, a personal YouTube message or something like that as soon as possible, and I will and include your address. But obviously, please don't post your address anywhere publicly. Make sure it is a personal message, and I will get the incredible picture of Bullman and his friend Bison in the mail to you. So there we go. So thank you everyone for joining in with that. Let's talk about some other stuff then. Oh, I tell you what I did build. I built something quite interesting yesterday. Let me show you. I'm quite pleased with this because it saved me a few bob. Come on, let me get it. Okay, here it is. So you might be wondering, what is this monstrosity? Well, it's a rolling road. I looked into getting a rolling road a while ago, but they were super expensive. So what I did in the end was I bought some DCC Concepts, I think it was, rolling road pieces, and you just get 6 of them like this, and they come with the 00 gauge spacers in between them already. You get 6 of those, just like this, and you basically just sit them onto the track, and you've got a rolling road. So what I actually did was, I found a piece of wood, which was the sort of right kind of size, and I've nailed a piece of track to it there, and then I've got a raised bit just here, where you can see there's another bit of track. That's for a tender or something like that. And you just stick the rolling road pieces on there, just like with a regular rolling road. And you can run locos on it and stuff, and run them in and exercise them, if you like, without having to put them on the track. And I've got a couple of wires sticking out the end there, so you can just power up both bits of track. And it works pretty well. I've had the one of the Ginties running on it this morning, and it does work pretty good. So if you want a cheap rolling road, look up the DCC Concepts rolling road. You just get a load of these things. It cost me about 50 quid for 6 of them, so it's a bit pricey, but if you're willing to do a bit of DIY, it definitely works out cheaper than buying a Hornby rolling road or whatever. Although I don't know whether Hornby still produce the rolling road. Do they? I'm not too sure. Okay, anyway, shall we do some more running then? I'm just thinking about what I should run. In fact, no, shall I show you some Snups stuff? Because all people seem to like it when I go on Snups. So let me load up Snups and I will show some Snups stuff. Okay, here we go. So let's see who's been active on Snups then. Let's take a look at the activity. Class 9002, I showed him last time, I think. Let's see what William Town's been up to. Oh, look at these. Hang on, is this mine? Oh, it's mine. I was going to say, who's taken those lovely photographs? Okay, so let's take a look at some of my followers, shall we? And let's see if there's anyone I don't recognise on there. So Michael Forster, I don't think I've looked at his stuff before, and it says he's got quite a few shelves on here. So, ooh, look at this. I thought I'd seen the P2, but in front of it, he says he's got an HO scale 44-ton shunter. Looks pretty cool. So that's undoubtedly an American shunter of some sort. So I know Michael was watching today, so it's pretty cool that I showed that. Let's have a look at Sean. I don't know whether I've shown Sean before, but wow, he's got a lot of stuff. Let's pick one of the train-related ones, shall I? Oh, he's got some HO/00 stuff. Let's take a look what he's got then. So that looks like, oh, that, I tell you what, that is just like the first loco I ever owned. That came in my Blue Highlander set. And it looks like Sean's got one as well, with, what is that in the wagon? Looks like peanuts or cat food or something. Can't be cat food, or I suppose maybe the cat train, I don't know. And I particularly like the use of the building blocks in the background. I really like that. I used to do things like that, so full brownie points for that. There's that wagon again. Let's have another closer look. It really does look like bunny food or something, or cat food. Sean, is it cat food? Let me know. Anyway, there seems to be quite a lot of this 040 running around, and there is some different rolling stock. There's one of those passenger coaches there, so that looks pretty awesome. I like that. Let's see who else is on here then. Let's go back. Let's see. Let's look at one more. I don't think... Have I looked at Matthew Elton before? No, I don't think I've seen these before. Oh, look at this. So this is a little slideshow of his A1 Humorist, and there it is. That's its nameplate. Absolutely beautiful. Would that be an A1 or an A3? It's hard to tell for me, actually. I'm no expert. But yeah, it looks like a beauty. I've heard of this one before. I reckon actually someone sent one of these in to have it serviced. So I reckon that's where I know it from. Humorist there. Yeah, it's a lovely, lovely loco, number 2751, if anybody's interested. Yeah, looks like a real beauty, that. Let's look at one more then, because I've still got 10 minutes left, so I needn't rush this, had I? The unfortunate thing is I haven't sort of made a note of who I've looked at already. Let's have a look at my models though. Not sure whose this is, but he's got some steam engines, so let's take a look at these. Oh, look at this. Yeah, that's the B12, the lovely B12 from, I think, the Anglican train set or something like that Hornby did. It's of course, it's not prototypical. They never actually did a BR Blue B12 in real life, but Hornby did, and that's a really nice thing to see. There's Gordon, of course. It looks like his eyes are lit up there, doesn't it? Has he got LEDs behind his eyes? It's slightly terrifying. And there's Thomas. Again, it looks like his teeth have been painted. He's got a very fresh white smile there, which looks pretty cool. Then we've got Queen Mary. Yeah, that's another quite old-fashioned 040. Really like that one. And of course the Flying Scotsman. Oh yes, no layouts complete without a Flying Scotsman. And the 040, of course. There it is, the Lancashire Yorkshire. Yeah, so that's obviously an LMYR pug of some sort, I would assume. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. And also a Great Western pannier tank. Very cool. So there we go, that was a little bit about snups. Shall we finish off then with a little bit more running? I'll first of all, actually, I'll look in the chat and see if anyone else is talking, sending me requests and things for shout outs. David Ballin, is it Ballin? I'm going to say Ballin, says, can I get a shout out? Yes, of course you can, because I know a lot of people ask me for shout outs and I say wait till the live stream, so I ought to make time to do that. Norbert Roll says the website is called Snups. Yeah, were people asking what it was? Yeah, SNUPPS, Snups. It just lets you catalogue collections. It doesn't have to be trains, by the way. You can catalogue whatever you like. But obviously for me, it's always going to be trains. Run your LB and SCR A1, says Valentino. The only thing I have from the LSBCR is the Terrier. Yeah, A1 Terrier. That's it. That's what he meant. Okay, we'll get the Terrier running in a bit then. Do you have any Nintendo consoles? Says Charlie Young. I have an NES. Actually, I never had an NES, but my granddad bought me like a... what would you call it? I think it was called a Superjoy or something like that. So it was a knockoff console, but it had loaded onto it about 100 Nintendo games, NES games. So even though I never had an NES, I actually grew up on NES games, Super Mario and that sort of thing. So sort of, but not sort of. I didn't really have an NES, but I'm familiar with a lot of the games. I used to like Bomberman or something like that. I think that's what it was called. Thomas Fan 103 says shout out. Lynn Peterson says God save the Queen. I guess so. You're talking about yesterday with the wedding, baby. Do you like the TV show Tugs? Says Toads on Ice. I've seen quite a bit of Tugs. I found it quite entertaining. Some of my friends like it more than I do. I know TARDIS Rescue is a big fan of Tugs, and Half-Baked Hexa 8, he's a big fan of Tugs. I know it's got a big following. It's quite similar to Thomas in a few ways, isn't it? He's got that charm, hasn't it? Eddie Owen says, did Bullmans? I don't know, did Bullmans? That's the big question of the day. And Valentino, again, is asking for a shout out, and he's just retracted the message. Does that mean, well, I can't take back the shout out now. William Thomas says, can you review the Union Pacific? Is that Big Boy run again? Oh, I'm not too sure. I talked about Big Boy earlier on. I would be tempted to get a Big Boy. Maybe I will. Mark Horner says, Bomberman was awesome. Yeah, I always liked Bomberman. I wasn't very good at it because the 7-year-old me wasn't very good with video games, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. It was definitely a good challenge. And Henry341 Adventures, yes, he was down in the comments right from the start, says, can I have a shout out please, Sam? Yes, there you go. And let's do one more. Palinkas Attila, sorry if I've said that wrong again. He says, can I have a shout out? So there you go. Okay, let's head down to the layout again then, and I will do some more requests and things. Well, not requests. I don't think there were any more requests. I did double check. So we'll do some more running. I think I will pinch the P2. I'll probably get the 2 P classes running again, but someone recommended that I run the Terrier, and to be honest, I quite like that idea. So we'll finish off with a little bit of Terrier running, because of course, the Terrier is quite closely related to the P-Class, being that it was based on them. Well, no, sorry, the P-Class was based on the Terrier, not the other way around. So it's only fitting, I suppose, that I run the Terrier. Now, what to run the Terrier with, though, that's the big question. Let me just double check I haven't just pulled the microphone cable out of the computer. I don't think I have. No, I haven't. We're okay. Right, let me grab these LNE Artiques off the track then, because we don't want those in the way. Let's just put those to one side. And shall I get some goods for the Terrier? I suppose the Terrier did more sort of passenger rolling stock, but the trouble is I haven't got any LBSC coaches, so I'll end up running Southern ones again, which I probably don't really want to do I? So let me pull out, I tell you what, let's get some Fish Fingers vans. They're always interesting. Nothing like Fish Fingers on a hot Sunday afternoon, is there? Perfect. Okay, so not too many, because obviously I did burn my Terrier out once for having too many wagons on the back. But how many is that? That's 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 wagons, shouldn't be too much for her. Let me grab the Terrier then. And if I pop her down on the track next to one of the P-Class locos, let's back the P-Class up. Can you still see if I do that? Yeah, no, let's bring her forwards then. So let me pop her down there. I wish I could show you a close-up here, but as you can see, yeah, there are definite similarities between the two. Obviously, though, they were different designs, so that's that. Okay, let's have the Terrier pulling coal bunker first then. So I'll put the Fish Finger vans on the front. One of them's got a grey roof, and all the others are white. I don't know why that is. I suppose really I should buy another one and swap the roofs over, because it's going to do people's head in to see one of them a different colour, isn't it? but not mine, I can live with it. Okay, bit naughty, I haven't got a brake van, but let's get her running straight away. So there we go, the terrier. And we'll get the two Ps running again, once again. So there we go with the green version, and let's get the grey version going as well. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, let's have one more running session with these then, and I can't get enough of the P class, so we've got to get her running again. Let's go around here. Oh, look at that. She is just absolutely gorgeous, isn't she? Yep, really, really good. Okay. Oh, we just missed the grey version. That would have been nice, having them in the same shot. Never mind. And there they go behind the desk. There's the grey version, who's on the inside, so of course he's going a bit quicker. And yeah, good idea to run the terrier, thanks for that. Sam does have a J50, says MDH Games. Was someone asking about my J50? And Charlie Young says, I love Transformers. I don't know where Transformers came into this, but yeah, sure, yeah, Transformers are cool. Got nothing against Transformers. Adam Rushton says, how was your day? And Genta Mohammed says, can I get a shout out, Sam? So yes, you can. There you go. Hello, Genta. Hope you're doing well. How was my day? Yeah, it's fine. It's definitely getting pretty hot up here now. I don't know why. I've not actually seen the sun for a little while, because there are no windows in this loft, unfortunately. So I don't know whether it's still sunny. I suppose it will be. It's only getting on for 4 o'clock, isn't it? So yeah, but yeah. It is pretty warm, to say the very least, but I suppose that's because of all the lights and things. They certainly don't help the temperature, but it's only an hour or so, isn't it? So it's not too bad. Let's have another look at the SECR Green P class then. There she goes. And again, I will run her in some other videos. If you want me to stick her in a running session, I could do another pre-grouping running session, because I really enjoyed that. Stick her in a running session, and that way I can get some proper close-ups of her running, because obviously we're not getting a brilliant view of her today. But yeah, I really need to do that, don't I? Get some decent close-ups. Okay, let's have one more lap. Let's bring them round to the front. Let's follow the terrier, because I've put her on and then sort of ignored her, haven't I? Just been following the P classes, and I've not really paid much attention to the terrier. So let's follow the terrier as she goes around to the front then. There she goes there. That's her just at the just going underneath the bookcase now. Okay, back to the bridge. Hopefully we'll get a decent shot of her here, just coming past the camera. There she is, running much better now. She did get a new motor. I think she did. She broke down on camera, didn't she, in my Toby review? So if you want to see the terrier go up in smoke and flames, that was the Bachmann Toby review. But she was fine. I ordered a new motor. I think it cost me about £8 in the end. Quite a bit, obviously, for a cheapish motor, but I do love the terrier, and I didn't want to scrap her. I think I was saying initially I'm just going to chuck her away and get a new one, but I thought, well, if I can get a motor for £8, there's no sense in buying another terrier for, what, 50 or 60. So yeah, I did that in the end, and as it happens, I quite enjoyed sort of rebuilding her, if you like. So there we go. Let's just wait for the grey version of the P class. Absolutely fantastic. Yes, the Ps are really something special. And again, if you want to look at all the different liveries available, I've left a link in the description of the stream. So check that out. That'll take you to the Hatton's website, and you can look at all of the different liveries they've done. And a lot of them are stunning. Well, all of them are stunning, but I personally think I've got two of the nicest ones. And also the Bluebell version was just fantastic too. Okay, folks, well, I think that's all I've got to say for today. I'm not going to go just yet. I'll stick around for a few and answer some questions and talk a little bit in the chat, because I want to make time. Obviously, I mean, it's all about the interaction, so I don't want to miss out on that. Let's see what people are saying. Do you mean the German train that still does 160 kilometers a day? I guess I just walked in on someone's conversation there. Isabella Rossi says, what is a rolling road? Oh, okay, right, let me show you this. Let's move everything out the way, and I'll grab the rolling road, and I haven't got any power over here, unfortunately, so I can't really show how it, well, I can't actually show it working, but I can show how it works. So let me bring this in, and I'll go and grab the H class, the P class. So there we go. If I just put those on there, I'll go and grab a loco, and I'll show you what happens. So a rolling road basically means that you can run your locos, you can give them some exercise, you can run them in and get them used to running without having to use a layout. So if you, I don't know if you haven't got a layout, or if you don't really want to leave it unattended on a layout, for example, and that's why I wanted a rolling road, because I like to run my locos in, and sometimes I haven't got time to sit while a loco runs around the room, but it's a lot safer just to leave a loco on a rolling road and let it run on its own. It's not going to derail. So as you can see, it sits on the rollers like that, and if I was to power up these tracks now, the loco would just be able to run and roll without going anywhere on the rolling road, and it could get all the exercise it wants, and it wouldn't derail or do anything like that. And also the wheels aren't going to get dirty because it's not running around a used layout or anything like that. So lots of benefits to it. Obviously they are expensive though, so I sort of built one out of wood. This is just wood that I've covered with the sort of white paper, just to make it look a bit better. Obviously you don't want to just look at bits of wood, but I might actually use this in some reviews. I might do the slow speed section on the rolling road, for example, and then I guess we haven't got the issue of point work and stuff for stalling. But yeah, I just thought I fancied a rolling road, but I didn't want to pay over 100 quid. So it cost me about 50 in the end, and I did a bit of, as you know, I did a bit of DIY, a little bit of soldering, hammered some nails into it. The job's a good one really. So yeah, that is what a rolling road is. Jack the Rail Fan says hi. Adam Rushton says, how many steam railways have you visited? Not all that many. I would say it's probably about 10, something like that. I normally get to at least one new one a year. Last year I went to the Nene Valley for the first time, and this year I think I'm going to do the Settle to Carlisle, which isn't a steam railway necessarily. I think they do have some steam stuff on there from time to time, but it's just, apparently it's just a nice stretch of railway, quite expensive I assume, but it's just scenically quite nice, so looking forward to that. Gab's Train says, shout out Sam, did you receive my drawings? Yes, I think I did. I sent you a reply, I think. If you sent me something for the Wall of Fame recently, by the way, i.e. today or yesterday, then I'll show it in the next stream. Probably I haven't had time to print it out yet. I am having an operation tomorrow. Wish me luck, Sam, says Map the Dragon. Good luck. I hope everything's all right. Sorry to hear you've got to have an operation, but hopefully whatever was wrong will be sorted out by that. So good luck. Hope everything goes well. I've been watching DC Legend of Tomorrow, Series 1, says David Ballin. Not too sure. I've not heard of that, but if anyone knows what that is, cool. Call my name again, Sam. I want to record it, says Genta Mohammed. So there you go, Genta Mohammed. Did you get that? Hopefully you did. Ahmed Amrai says, what do you think of the Ginty? Yes, I really like the Ginty. I got a new one yesterday actually, and I'm going to be giving away a Ginty at some point, I think, as well. Don't quote me on that, but yes, the next thing I give away might be a GCC fitted Ginty, so that should be fun. Brian O'Hurt says, I'm making a Snups account. Okay, cool. Be sure to follow me on Snups, and I might show you during a live stream if you send me some stuff. And the Gangster says, Sam, have you thought of a name for one of the stations yet? Sorry if I send it a lot. Well, I've got, most of my stations have got names. This one, for example, is Toy Town Station. People don't like that name, but you know, they say it's not a realistic name. But come on, have you seen my layout? I mean, this is not a realistic layout. It might be one day, and if I build a proper layout, I might try and make it realistic. But as you know, I'm not really one for realism because I run pretty much everything. I can't run all these 300 plus locos at the same time, obviously, and be realistic. So my layout is pretty generic, as you know. Do you know any Dutch? Sam'sTrains says Lassie Girth. No, I don't know any Dutch, unfortunately. But if you do, if you speak multiple languages, then you're pretty impressive. You're better than I am. What is your favourite train and why, says Steam Fanatic. Obviously it's the Bullard Pacific, although these are starting to catch up, I reckon, especially now I've seen that SECR green one. So it might now be the P class or the H class. I really like that, but for now I think it's still the Bullard Pacific, probably Canadian Pacific, just because I think they're unconventional and I really like the shape of the Bullards, especially in the in the streamlined form, the unrebuilt form, I should say. Ahmed Amrai says, can I have a shout out? Sammy B Videography says, giving away a Ginty. I'm ready for that. Yes, I might be giving one away. I'll explain more about that another time because I've only just got it, but yeah, I'll talk about that later on. And Jack the Rail Fan says, good luck to you, sir. Yes, I guess that's about the operation as well. Good luck in that. And Adam Rushton says, I love BR Blue. Yeah, I love BR Blue too. A lot of people don't because it happened quite late on, and you see most of BR Blue really happened during preservation because in real life it wasn't very practical, I don't think. But yeah, I love BR Blue. I'm just, like I say, I'm not really in for realism, I'm just in for pretty engines, and I think BR Blue does that pretty well. Charlie Young says, hey Sam, do you own any Transformers toys? I got a few of the old Generation 1 toys. No, I don't really know much about Transformers, but that does sound pretty cool, so they might be worth something one day, so hold on to them. Do you like DC or Marvel, says David Ballin. We're getting a lot of Marvel questions today. Has there been a new film out or something? No, I don't really know much about them, to be honest. I hear a lot about them, but I don't know very much about them, to be honest. Mark Horner says, I see why you like Canadian Pacific, and yes, it's also Mark's favourite loco. I think it's Mark's favourite, not 100% sure, but yeah, I think it is. And then Maria Dixon says, when will you get a Hornby pug, Sam? I'm keeping an eye out. I'm going to a train fair next month, so normally they've got some pugs there. So if I see one and it looks good and it looks a good price, I might try and get a pug. But yeah, I like those. Sam'sTrains says, do you love French locomotives? Yeah, I quite love French locos. I've only got the one. It's a Lima one, I think, but it's pretty good looking. If it had a more modern mechanism, I'd probably run it a bit more. Let's have a look here. I'll take that, Ginty, says Jack the Rail fan. Yes, I'm sure you will. It's quite a nice price, because to be honest, the things I've given away in the past have either been silly things, like Bullman or whatever, or Thomas and Friends stuff. And I know not everybody likes Thomas and Friends stuff, so I thought it would be nice this year to give away something that isn't Thomas and Friends related, just so that rail fans in general can get something nice. MDH Game says, what's your favourite class of diesel? The Class 20, I think. I like the Class 20. Again, quite unusual looking, aren't they? Quite like those, yeah. And the teddy bears are quite nice as well. But I did get one. Well, I didn't get one. I got one sent to me to service, and I wasn't very impressed by the mechanism, so I probably won't be getting one of those. But I like the looks of them, and I saw one, I think, at the Nene Valley it was, funnily enough. And yeah, I was really impressed by that. Looked lovely. What did you do for Mother's Day, said Stephanie Seltz. It was Mother's Day, wasn't it, last week in America? But we don't actually have Mother's Day on the same date as was, I can't remember when it was now. It was a while ago anyway. We have them at different times, put it that way. So we normally go out for a meal or something like that. But obviously for us in the UK, it wasn't Mother's Day last week or whatever. Paskins Railway says, can I have a shout out? I already gave him one, but there you go, that's another one. David Ballin says, when is the video next? I guess you're asking when the next video is. So the next one's Wednesday. I won't put up one tomorrow because we've had this one. But on Wednesday, I'm hopefully looking at some rolling stock. There we go. I don't very often review rolling stock, at least not on its own. So that should be quite exciting. Guess us in the comments what I'm going to be doing. And then on Saturday, 2 more engines are going to be going head to head in a bit of a competition. So that should be enjoyable. Again, if you want to guess who's going up next, let me know and I will do that. And the date of my next stream is going to be Sunday the 10th of June. So if you want to mark that in your diaries or whatever, if you've got diaries, I don't have a diary. But if you want to make a note of that, it's going to be the 10th of June. I'm hopefully going to do some train fair stuff, but that's subject to change. So just sort of keep your eyes peeled on that. But hopefully by then I will have been to another train fair and I will be showing some goodies. Again, I sometimes go to train fairs without bringing back much goodies. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes it does. So if I don't come back with anything, I'll have to do something else. Might just do some requests or whatever. But yeah, hopefully that'll be good. For now though, folks, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you all for watching. I've really enjoyed this today. It's just been lovely, you know, great locos, great people, of course, in the chat. And just a good time in general. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know, of course, in the chat if you have, and I'll say some goodbyes. Sam'sTrains says, Sam, I would like to send you a loco. Well, that's very kind of you, but I'm running out of space, to be honest. But no, I couldn't possibly, you know, take people's locos from them. I'm clearly not lacking any locos, so you might as well keep them yourself, you know. I don't want to be taking stuff from people. James Train says, do you have an Intercity 125? Yeah, I've got quite a few of them. I've got 2 of the regular Intercity ones in the blue, and then one of the Hornby versions, well, Hornby/Virgin ones in the red. They're very nice things, but none of the modern ones. I don't have a modern one. Toads on Ice is saying bye-bye. Jack the Rail Friend says, no, not the end. It's not going to be the end. I'll do some more. Like I say, in June, I'll probably do 2. Next one's going to be on the 10th, and I'll do another one towards the end of June as well, because I want to do more of these. I like these streams. Ian Peterson says, bye, BB Productions. Pulls a sad face, or slightly sad face. Adam Rushton saying goodbye. Burger Films, bye. Stuart Bumstead, I went and said it, didn't I? Bye, Sam. Thomas Fan 17, bye bye. Twin Easter, see you soon, Sam. SS26 is saying shout out, so you only just got there in the last minute there. David is saying goodbye. Adam Rushton, goodbye. Ronita, EP1, sorry if I said that wrong. Charles Curtis, Pascan, Taggart00, hello Taggart, didn't realise you were here. Amy Jean, can I have a shout out? Yes, you got in there just at the last moment. And Roadway Railway says bye. So bye everybody, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed seeing the P-Class. I'm so happy with it, and you're going to expect to see a lot more P-Class action on my railway, because I'm going to be running them any chance I get. So anyway, with that, thank you all very much for watching. Thank you to everyone who sent me a super chat. I better just go through those and thank everybody there. I don't think anybody snuck through without getting a mention, but I'll do it just all the same. So Model Train Fan, Gothic Locomotive, Andrew Keeley, Toads on Ice, the Imperial Diamond Spinosaurus, Train Fan 28, The Boundless, Justin Paul, get in touch Justin if you'd like your photograph, Charles Curtis, Michael Forster, and Ollie Turf 26. Thank you all for your support. I couldn't do this without you. I really appreciate that. And to everyone who's watched, to everyone who's been in the chat, and to everyone who comments later on, thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all very, very soon. Alright, cheers everybody. Well, that's the end of another live stream. Thank you all very much for watching, but more importantly, thank you all for your support. I will be doing another stream in a few weeks' time, so keep an eye on my channel. I'll normally announce it a couple of days in advance. But for now, folks, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will see you all very soon. Cheers, everybody.